Hey people, it is Thursday, April the 7th, and the time is 2:17 in the afternoon, and the temperature is currently 12 degrees Celsius, and I'm standing here at the Esplanade and the foot of Scott Street, and I'll be making my way north along Scott Street and continuing on Victoria Street for the length of Victoria Street, which ends in the Ryerson University campus at Gould Street. As I look east down the Esplanade, and we're now heading north. So we'll be kind of skirting the eastern side of the financial district. Victoria Street is just one block east of Yonge, and it gets sort of overshadowed by Yonge Street, and a lot of people don't bother to really take much note of it, but it is a pretty good looking street with lots of attractive buildings, and it has quite a big city presence, nice street wall, nice canyon effect along most of the length of Victoria Street. More so than Yonge Street in that same area, I would say. Just at Front Street. This is the St. Lawrence Market neighborhood. We're just sort of on the edge of here. And over there is Birksey Park with its famous dog fountain, which is not yet turned on. I'm sure they'll be turning it on hopefully within the next month or so as the weather improves. So we're still on Scott Street. It becomes Victoria Street after crossing either Colborne or King. I'm not sure which. We'll find out momentarily. And here's Wellington Street. And this is 88 Scott. This is a relatively new condo tower that was built on top of this old office building, where they tore down the building but then they reconstructed it, at least the facades of it, to appear as if it were untouched in the whole process. And the end result is pretty convincing. You would never have known that they tore down the old building in the first place. And here's the rear end of the King Edward Hotel. It faces to the north onto King Street, I should say. This is Colborne Street. This is a pretty neat street in its own right. It's just a bit short, a bit too short to make a video dedicated to it, but I have walked down it many times in other videos. So Victoria Street does begin here after crossing Colborne. And I think the only thing that brings people onto Victoria Street, where they regularly would have, or normally would have no other reason, is the passport office. The downtown passport office is located on Victoria Street. And here's King Street. And there's the front entrance to the King Edward Hotel. This is one of my favorite intersections in the city, to give that big city urban canyon look. That's an old post office building. That fronts onto Toronto Street, which is just one block east of here. Of course, it's no longer a post office. Now it is Morgan and Associates. And you got a cool shot of the Scotia Plaza. And this old office building is called the Imperial Life Building. It's not very tall, but it has a good presence. And this is one of the oldest and earliest skyscrapers in the city. Of course, hardly a skyscraper by today's standards, but for the time it was first built, it certainly qualified. It's like over 100 years ago. And I think that's called the Victoria Tower. Here's Adelaide Street. And this building with the silvery facade is where the passport office is located. It's been in the news lately because a lot of people are having trouble getting their passports, and there's been huge lineups, and I see there's a lineup right now. The demand for traveling is overwhelming the system, I think. Some people who were showing up first thing in the morning hoping to get their application process completed, and they were unable to, and they had to come back again the next day. So hopefully those people aren't stuck waiting all day. Here's Richmond Street. And this is the Confederation Life Building. Another beautiful historic structure that hopefully will be here for another 150 years or so. And I just noticed this convenience store has the Friends logo, the TV show logo, in its name. I wonder if the NBC has anything to say about that. So it's not rush hour yet, but in the next hour or so, the rush hour traffic and crowd should be picking up. Here's Queen Street. St Mike's Hospital. We've got more scaffolding here. I'm going to walk on the outside of the scaffolding. And then this is the backside of the Elgin and Winter Garden Theatre. It fronts onto Yonge Street. And that's the Massey Tower condominium, towering up behind it, or in front of it, I guess. Currently walking past St. Mike's Hospital here, this large blank wall facing the street. But I suppose it's a hospital and there's not much that can be done about that. And that guy was like horking up a lung or something. And here's the newly completed addition to Massey Hall. It looks pretty sharp, pretty slick. Allied Music Center. That was a major renovation that took years. Massey Hall just recently reopened. So it just worked out for them that they were closed for renovations over the course of most of the pandemic, when restrictions would have not allowed for performances to take place anyway. So I suppose that was good timing on their part. And just when restrictions were lifted, the renovation was complete. We'll see the front side of Massey Hall here once we get to Shooter Street. And there's Massey Hall. It's probably the most famous performance venue in the city. Sort of like Canada's version of Carnegie Hall, I suppose, would be the closest equivalent. Not as famous as Carnegie Hall, obviously. But within Canada, I would say it's pretty much almost equally famous. That's the Pantages Towers and Hotel. It's named after what was the Pantages Theatre right next door. Now it's called the Ed Mirvish Theatre. And this is the back end of the Ed Mirvish Theatre. It also fronts onto Yonge Street. And I think sometime in the near future, one of the old signs from Honest Ed's will be placed, I think, right up there, where those bolts are protruding. Honest Ed's, of course, was owned by the Mirvish family. And as the building was being demolished, they took down one of the old flashing Honest Ed signs to preserve it, and plans were made to reinstall it somewhere else in the city, and this was the location that they chose, being another Mirvish property. So someday Honest Ed's will be lighting up Victoria Street instead of Bloor and Bathurst. The site of Honest Ed's is now a high-density residential complex consisting of several rental apartment buildings, as well as some new retail and shops and a rejuvenation of Markham Street. And this is the old Senator restaurant. And I'm not sure what the status is of this. It's been closed up for like as long as I can remember, over the course of most of the pandemic. And I'm not sure if they'll be reopening. Hopefully they will, because this is a very popular and well-known place. It's regarded as one of the oldest restaurants, continually operating restaurants in the city. And we've come on to Yonge-Dundas Square. And there's a look up Dundas Street East. And Victoria Street comes to an end. Just in the next block or so at Gould Street. We're entering the Ryerson University campus now. And here's the Devonian Pond. In the winter this is a skating rink. And in the summer it's a regular pond, but as of right now it's not much of anything. When it's dry it's used as a skateboard park of sorts. So this is the pedestrianized portion of the Ryerson campus at Gould and Victoria. Over there is Yonge Street. And there's a look south down Victoria Street. And east along Gould. And I don't think this is officially Victoria Street, or maybe it is still, even though it's a pedestrian walkway here. This will lead us out to Gerrard Street. So I'll just take us right to the very end then. This is known as the Nelson Mandela Walk. There's the Aura condominium, towering over everything. And what is happening up here? Am I even able to get through here? Maybe I'm not. Well, I would have walked all the way to Gerrard Street, but I don't think I can. So I'm going to wrap things up here. Gerrard Street is just right up ahead there. So I hope you enjoyed the walk along Victoria Street, and Scott Street really, beginning at the Esplanade. Or Scott Street just goes northward for a couple of blocks. And then after crossing Colborne, Victoria Street continues on all the way up here to the Ryerson campus. So leave a comment below if you enjoyed the walk. And like and share and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal and via my merch store. And that's kind of funny, the sky lifting weights here. And you can also find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and be sure to keep checking back because, as always, I will continue.
Mm-hmm.